Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode microplot is a complete adventure with a beginning and an end that fits into the overarching macro plot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order and can skip any you don't enjoy. Today we are playing using the combat mechanics from a game called Darksome Delve. It's our first time playing, so we might make some mistakes. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find Darksome Delve on surprisethreat.com. Build your own Darksome Delve character and play a game with friends. Speaking of friends, today we are joined by Mary Elizabeth Stewart.
Good morrow. My name is Mary Elizabeth Stewart. I hail from London, but you won't know where that is. Mary is from London, of our world, but from the Elizabethan era, so late 1500s. She got magically transported to the world of Draws and has just kind of been trying to figure out how to get back ever since. She's about 21 years old, so, trying to make her way in the world, has a little bit of business sense, but was primarily looking to get married. That's not really on her radar after the last episode she was in. But she's still wearing her characteristic dress of a pale blue kirtle over a white linen dress. And she has more ruddy skin, brown hair, brown eyes. And normally she would have magic, but that's gone now. She's mad about that. And part of her MO for the adventure today is trying to either work on ways to get her magic back from the person who stole it from her, or just be able to be useful again. Because without her magic, she's just kind of an everyday schmuck. She doesn't like that.
Yeah, as an everyday schmuck myself, I feel ya.
I play these games for escapism, not realism. Give me back my Mary Sue.
Yes. Well, you've got some abilities. Can you tell us a bit about your character sheet build?
Yes. So in Darksome Delve, it's split into knack points, affinity dice, weapons, and abilities and gear. So knack points are basically things that you can use to change die rules that could be in your favor. And so I've got knack points in Arcana, which makes sense because she was a sorcerer witch of sorts. And also in tech. The tech in Darksome Delve is more like artificer tech. So in my mind, this is like she's been trying to find artifacts or magical items that can supplement her lack of power. And so she's gained a little bit of knowledge in that lately. She also has affinity dice, which are basically if there are different move types in the game, what they call like actions, moves, attacks, and reactions. And so she has affinity dice in interact, evade, spelled strike, and take cover, which basically if I make any moves that use those characteristics, then I get to add an extra dice to my dice pool. And the dice pool is how you actually choose how to do actions and stuff like that. And then I've got, theoretically, I will have a wand and an orb at some point in this adventure. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But I've got those just in case. Story progression.
Yeah, we've got them statted.
Yes, got them statted just in case, but I don't know. The GM might have something else in store for me. Who knows?
She does not start the adventure with them, listeners.
No. I'm really going in buck naked.
Well, let's fix that.
Yes, exactly. The last of my character sheet has abilities on it. So I've got 3 combat abilities, which can only be used in combat and maybe some exploration sequences in the game. And then I've also got just a regular exploration ability. So I've got Stunning Strike, Entangle, and Magical Ritual. A lot of her build is kind of different than what I've themed her in the past because she's very intent on getting her power back, which was stolen by a person. And she's like, I need to be able to keep this person in place so that I can destroy them. There's been a bit of a character shift.
Yes. And I did take some notes on the types of your abilities. I believe Stunning Strike is combat, Entangle is combat, and Magical Ritual is exploration. So you'll be able to use that during exploration sequences.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. We are prepared, listener.
So prepared.
Excellent. Well, today is a special one-on-one session. This is a bit different than we normally do. Mary, during the episode Trauma Poetry, something life-changing happened to you. That fiend, that villain, Obsidiana La Calder, took advantage of a moment of crisis. You and many other people had been happily whiling away time at the party Kaysen Zadok was hosting to find a marriage partner for his son. Several surprising facts had been revealed at the party, including that the party host Kaysen had long ago frozen a man in time. Marcia Carmichael had always thought her father Zidane had simply abandoned her as a child. Yet there her father Zidane stood in front of her elderly face at the party, alive and well. He was as young as ever, unaged, unlined, unlike her. And what's worse, Zidane said her longtime family friend, Kaysen, the party host, had been responsible for his disappearance. That Kaysen had frozen him in time. The stress was too much for Marcia's elderly heart to handle, and unfortunately, it stopped. CPR was started, but it wasn't looking good for Marcia. In that moment of crisis, Obsidiana had called out, "Is there a magic user present?" Tell us what happened next.
I mean, do I have to relive it?
No, you don't. You can be like, that happened.
Yes, it did. Well, it gives, I suppose, reliving it gives Mary fuel for the fire. So Mary historically had been trying to learn more about her magic and control it. But she, at the time of Trauma Poetry, still didn't really have a good handle on it. And so knowing that Obsidiana was treacherous, having had previous treacherous interactions with her, she didn't really want to trust in her to be able to save Marcia. But at the same time, Marcia is Zidane's daughter, and Zidane is a fire-breathing kitten, just like Mary is. And Mary just felt like she had to try and do something. And if she tried to do it on her own, she could make things a lot worse. So instead, she tried to give a little bit of her power to Obsidiana. And what ended up happening was Obsidiana, basically Mary gave an inch and Obsidiana took a mile. She stole all of Mary's power. She did heal Marcia and make her a little bit younger, but then Obsidiana just kind of left and is now in hiding or unreachable, as of yet undecided, as far as Mary knows. But now Mary, after having been faced with a marriage proposal of like life and luxury, like the thing that she's always wanted, she's like, no, actually this magic power that I've always hated and have actually hidden from myself for so long, it's like, that is a part of me and I need it back. And, let's be real, Mary's actually a very vengeful person. She's inherent, like she's suspicious of people. And if you lose her trust, you lose it for good. And that has sent her a bit on like a vengeance quest to not only get her magic back, but to, I think at this point, legit kill Obsidiana. I think she's at that level where she's that angry. You know?
Did bring her back from the dead. It's only fair.
She tricked Arby, that poor, like that good soul.
Yeah.
She's the devil. Like Mary calls everything satanic, but like Obsidiana is the devil in her eyes now, and the devil must be crushed.
And with that, we are all caught up on the backstory, because I know these Fire Breathing Kittens episodes are like standalone, but this one's special. It's a one-on-one deep dive into character development, and so there is a mild 10-minute backstory. Sorry. No, it was just like 3 minutes of backstory, 3 minutes of character building info. Okay, so you're all caught up. Now you know the players, listener, and you're ready for this one-shot adventure. So, I see. Yes, that was quite life-changing to lose your magic like that. What a villain Obsidiana is. But it wasn't only life-changing for you. You saved Marcia. If you hadn't said yes in that moment, she would be dead right now. Let's start the adventure with you visiting her in the hospital. Marcia has been here for a few days now. She sent you a letter saying the doctors are planning on discharging her soon. The letter asked you to come visit her before she leaves the hospital and Nicomoy and begins her long journey home. It is 5 p.m. sharp, exactly when visiting hours start. As you walk up to her hospital room's doorway, she sees you and smiles. Mary Stewart, the woman who saved my life. I'm glad you could make it here before I travel home. Come give me a hug.
Mary goes in and gives her a hug and says, I am glad that thou dost seem to be getting well.
It's all thanks to you. Marcia pulls back from the hug and the creases around her eyes deepen as she beams at you. I can't thank you enough for being so brave and saving me. The least I can do is try to help a bit with how you're inconvenienced now because of me. I heard that saving me cost you all of your magic. Is that true, Mary?
Yay, sadly.
Oh, Mary, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I know it's not much, but please allow this old woman to help out just a little bit. I have a thank you present for you. Can you open that drawer right there, second from the top?
Okay. Opens the drawer. What do I see?
You open the drawer and find a simple-looking oak twig with a wishbone-like forked end. It has minuscule elvish inscriptions etched into the wood.
Madam, what is this? 'Tis beautiful, forsooth, but what is it?
It's a wand imbued with its own power.
Oh, this gift. You're so generous. I give you my many thanks. I am afraid I may not use it for all rightly good, but I shall treasure it. Thank you.
Ah, and when you touch it, as you pick it up, the minuscule elvish inscriptions etched into the wood briefly light up in white light. That's nice.
It is nice. It makes Mary a little warm inside and also a little mad.
The time passes and it's now 7 p.m. and you've had a lovely visit.
So nice. I did not talk about Zidane at all during that visit. We talked about her home, how a giant crab ended up doing stuff on a big island with people who are part of her family. It was very surprising.
So surprising.
So after visiting hours, I think Mary would just kind of start walking the streets of Nicomoy.
Before that.
Okay.
As you turn to leave the hospital room, you bump into a 5'10", 140-pound elf with emerald green eyes and white hair. He's carrying flowers. This is the first time you've seen Kaysen Zadok since, that's awkward, that time you said no to his proposal that you marry his son.
That is awkward. Mr. Zadok, pleasure to meet you at this hour. Art thou visiting the Lady Marcia?
He looks genuinely startled to see you, Mary. Yes, I'm visiting Marcia. Mary Stewart, it's been a while. Gosh, not since that day. What an eventful day. Wait, that was the same day that the book went missing. And you were in my house. His eyes widen, and now, instead of looking at Marcia with his flowers, he's looking at you angrily.
What? Pray tell, what book? I I do not know what thou spakest of.
You pretend as if you do not know, but you intend to blackmail me. Kason, I told you not to visit me. There's nothing you can say that will make me forgive you for not telling me my father was alive my whole life and that you knew where he was, let alone that you're the person who froze him in time in the first place. My whole life I could have had my father, and I didn't because of you. Go away. I don't want to ever see you again. Kason stops where he was about to argue with you in this hospital room, Mary, and says, "That's understandable, Marcia." He sets the flowers on a table near the door. "I hope one day you'll change your mind." He turns and, with an inexplicably angry glare at you, Mary, exits the room.
Okay, nix that walk through town. Mary will just give a little curtsy to Marcia and then head out after Kason and just yell out, "Sir Zadok, please. What is this book thou spakest of? And blackmail? Why wouldst I have need of blackmail against thou?"
"I'm sure you just happened to be in my house and happened to say no to my marriage proposal the same day. I'm sure it's nothing." And he just glares at you.
Indeed, there seems to be bad blood between us, and I do not wish for that. As I said at our last meeting, there was personal reasons that I could not accept thy good marriage proposal to thy son. There is nothing personal against thou and thine family, though. Mayhaps I can prove that to you by helping you find this book, address this blackmail that seems to be against thou and thine family.
Oh, and now you want me to hire you to find my book. I see how it is, fire-breathing kitten. I'm sure jobs are easier when you create them yourself.
Listen. My temper was short, and now it be shorter. I do not wish to part on bad terms, but if thou insists on it, we shall. I am willing to help with something that is seemingly very important to you. If you do not want help, that is fine. But the animosity towards me is unwarranted.
I reserve my animosity towards those capable of doing things, and I heard that you lost all your magic. I'm glad you didn't marry me.
I'm not even going to let him finish that sentence. I straight up whip out Mary's so unhinged right now.
In a hospital.
In a hospital. He'll get care very quickly. It's fine. I whip out the wand and I'm like, get thee away from here. So I don't
runs. He just bolts down the hallway, sprints. Okay. Picture Legolas with the hair flying up behind him as he just runs from you. He's like, crazy woman in the hallway. Guards, hospital staff, runs.
Oh boy. Oh, Mary is not in a good place. Straight up just threatening a man with magic because he irritates her. Not good. Don't do that in real life, people. Just walk away. Just walk away.
It's so much more fun.
It really is. Oh, boy. That book is concerning, though, because especially he probably has a very poor outlook on the fire-breathing kittens at this point. I don't know. Is there some investigation I could do? I don't really want to lurk around the house, but I want to see if there's word on the street of someone who is blackmailing the Zadoks for one reason or another. Because if she can clear her name with Zadok, that would at least make sure she doesn't have a powerful enemy with lots of money and a very long lifespan.
Let's do a quick out of sequence assess roll. So normally you only get dice when you're in a sequence, but Should I make a sequence? An exploration sequence? Okay, let's make an exploration sequence. Roll your number of hit points.
Okay, and I have 6 hit points, so I'm going to roll 6d6. Get the feet. Okay, I rolled 4 singles and 1 double.
4 singles and 1 double. You can use your double on your ability, which is called Magical Ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's, let's see, choose one, gain a light, gain an armor point, or shed a stress point.
And it lets you interact, which is manipulate a creature, object, or environment. So you could do that to like manipulate a creature, object, or environment to like do something about it, but it's not going to gain you information. You're going to want to assess. So that's the base action, assess. And that's one of your singles. So you can spend a single to assess if you're interested in gaining information. Oh, are you in the hospital hallway still?
I am still in the hospital.
You're in like a prayer room and you've drawn an arcane circle with your twig, or like what is happening?
So it's just like a little private area. Yeah, probably a prayer room.
Actually, I think guards would come.
Oh, okay. So I've been kicked out of the hospital.
Yeah, I think you've been kicked out of the hospital. I think after a small scene involving tall people carrying you from the upper arm, you know?
Yeah.
On either side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So describe where you are and what you're doing.
Yeah. So let's see. So if my goal is to get information on what's going on with Zadok, my 2 thoughts are I can either go to the social circles that he's in and see what gossip's going around there, or I could go somewhere a little seedier. Mary doesn't really have connections in the seedy part of town, and she was seen at a party with some... Oh, you know what could be good? I remember now. Yes, there was something Mary noticed as she was leaving the house from Zadok, I think, in the last episode. Yeah, I'll use the magic ritual to try and, if not divine the location of the book, then at least to, like, I guess, conjure the memory of what happened as she was, like, in the house and leaving.
Heck yeah. Go full divination. Let's see what happened.
Yeah.
You got a magic wand. Use it, girl.
Let's do it. It takes a couple of tries. So she's currently like in her room at Erebus's ranch house at his farm. And she's just like shaking this thing, twirling it around, trying to figure out how it works.
So you've left Nicomo. You're going to your Erebus's ranch house. Okay.
For privacy. Yes.
I see. Okay. And you describe your magic ritual.
Yes, there's a lot of waving and speech in Latin, you know, fake Latin, because she doesn't actually know Latin. That's not what Protestants do. That's a Catholic thing.
But it sounds better.
It does sound better, which is why she's trying it. And so what ends up happening is after a few false starts, she ends up getting...
Let's roll the dice.
Oh,
so
yes.
You have a double, right?
Yes, I do.
Please roll those 2d6, and I'm going to make this a 5 difficulty. Let's see if you can get a 5, and that is your magic ritual interact. Interact is also your affinity action, so add another dice.
Oh, yes. That's right. I thought it would be assess because that's kind of... No, but yeah, the ability is interact. Okay, so I'm rolling 3d6 total. Yes! I rolled a 6, which is a critical success. For that ability for magic ritual. Okay, so normally it's like, you know, choose 1, gain a light, gain an armor point, shed a stress point. But if I get a critical, it's choose 2. So I imagine in a little bit more of this role-playing exploration scenario, maybe it's like, maybe there's an extra bit of information that she gets from the divination that she wasn't looking for at first.
Yes, that is, and actually with interact, you can interact with it. So what happens is that you see the book, and you see it in the bedroom of one Meriwether Jones, a human young adult in their 20s, nearly 5'7", and they just have the most everyman hair color, eye color, skin color, you know? Man, they look like everyone you've ever seen, really. I mean, it's almost like if there was a gang of lookalike pickpockets, this person could belong in it. And you see the book and you're able to interact with it and you have a critical. So you can literally telekinesis from a distance this book if you would like.
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't I? Yeah, just another wave of the wand. Just kind of like a come here gesture with the wand to try and get it to come to me.
Okay, so are you doing like Ashio book where it like flies through the air of the town, or are you like reaching through the circle like it's a portal? Or
I was thinking reaching through the circle like it's a portal because Mary's initial magic was like portal based, essentially. She just didn't realize it.
yeah.
So it would be hilarious if it just kind of like flew towards her and then like hit the wall of Meriwether's bedroom or something.
And then you're like, oops, and then you like reach through.
Exactly.
Yeah, you reach your hand through your magic circle that you've drawn, holding your wand with its illuminated sylvan letters on the wood, and you reach your hand back, and you have a book.
Ooh. I'm going to read the book after closing the portal. Like I definitely I try and I want to dispel this magic ritual now.
It is dispelled, and the information that you have is this book contains a ledger of a lot of very bad deeds.
Oof.
You know how, like, sometimes you interact with so many people you forget each one? You shouldn't do that when you're really screwing them over. So this is a record of everyone Kaysen Zadok has ever, and it looks like frozen in time? That's not good. You see Zidon's name here, and the date, and where his body was stored.
Ooh, creepy. Where was his body stored?
I'd have to ask the player, but
That's
I think
fair,
like in
that's
a
fair.
cave. I don't remember, but like in a place nobody would go.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't quote me, listener, but I think it was in a cave.
Oh boy. What's some of the most recent stuff in the book? Because this, I mean, like, he's an elf and super rich. He's probably pretty old. Also, is there anything relating to the Duca family in there?
Ooh, as you're paging through this book, you are currently where?
I'm in Erebus's farmhouse. I'm in my
Yes.
room.
Yes, you're pretty safe. You find information. I'm going to let you improv this.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, okay. So I don't know much about finances, but so like the Duca family is really big in stock investments and things like that. I think what Mary finds is that Kaysen Zadok went and like manipulated the stocks such that, you know, the Ducas could make a lot of money off it. But then he also plans to orchestrate a crash at some point. So they lose everything and he gains all of their money from that crash.
Oh, no.
I don't know,
he's
like,
gonna
if
buy their
that's-
shares when they're low.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he's got like a plan in place to like put it all back up.
Oh,
Through his like other seedy connections or something. Like, obviously this can't happen in real life, but like when you have the time that elves do, you can lay the groundwork for this stuff, you know?
yeah. Dirty deeds. Dirty deeds.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you do now that you have this information?
When
Also, you could marry
yes.
into this guy's family.
I could marry into this guy's family. I
want
do
his son?
still. I kind of want to try. I did consider finding his son and speaking to him separately about the whole thing at some point. But the problem is, if I am a good person, it's like I'm either a silent person and I try and marry into this family eventually after getting my revenge, and I'm rich forever. But then Sadie's family, who is also kind of like Anne's host family, but not anymore. It's complicated. Then they like basically get in the gutter and I have to live with that. Or I'm a good person who completely ruins my chances of like stability and luxury post-adventuring life. And their family's fine, but I don't really benefit from it. So I think at this point, I would actually like to go and find Anne. I know that she's basically taken over for Sadie at this point. But since it's also known that Sadie is aware of things going on, she just chooses not to be involved. I think this is important information for Sadie, and this might also help with Anne's goal of getting her to like be more active in her life. Like if she has the chance to save her family from financial ruin, maybe that'll encourage her to, you know, be a little bit more adventurous and put herself out there.
Yes. So let's say it took about half an hour to get home and maybe like another hour to like be home and like do the ritual, draw the thing, you know. So it's maybe an hour and a half after it was 6. So it's like 7:30, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's 7:30. And where is Erebus? It's like on the edge of town, right?
Yeah, definitely on the edge of town.
Okay. So you're walking through town to get to...
Yes.
Okay.
To get to the rich part of town.
Yes. You're walking through town. Are you carrying the book?
Probably. Player wanted to say no, but character would be carrying the book. Probably reading bits of it too.
Oh, wow. You've got it visible.
I know. Just trying to, I mean, like, okay, realistically, who reads the pages of a book that someone else is reading in public? It doesn't usually happen.
I'll just say this next thing's deserved. Mary, the sun is starting to set, and the people of Nicomoy bustle around on the streets, heading home after their long days. As you walk through the city, as you head towards Anne's, currently in the body of Sadie, Duca's house, or wherever she's staying with all that money, you hear footsteps behind you.
Oof. If it's getting dark, Mary will take out her wand so that it like lights up a little bit and gives a little bit of light. And we'll just look around, make sure that she's okay.
You see people on the street? Oh, maybe it was their footsteps.
Mary is a suspicious person. Okay. I'm going to go and see. So we're still in exploration sequence, you would say?
Yeah, you do have dice left over from that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can do actions and moves. Oh, and I have an affinity dice in evade. So I'd like to use the evade move to be a little bit more sneaky, I guess. Or at least try and blend in a bit with the crowd, move a little faster, be a little fleeter of foot.
Yeah, let's see that roll. I have the difficulty number. I'm just gonna, I need like a giant Sharpie, but I can't. Anyway, whatever. Just trust me. Okay, it's a 6.
Yes.
I'll just say it right now. Difficulty 6 for evade for this.
Okay.
You can roll, let me see what your affinities are. Yes, you have an affinity in evade. So you can roll 2d6, your normal single, and then that affinity dice. Let's see if you get a 6.
Okay. No,
oh, wait,
I did not.
Evade is moving while avoiding exploit strikes. So that's like a reaction attack of opportunity.
Oh.
Lurk is what you want. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I would like to lurk. I do not have an affinity die in that. So would you like me to? I rolled the same number on both my dice.
Was it a 6?
No, it was a 2.
Okay, well, let's just say you did not successfully lurk, but you think you did. You're like, I'm being so sneaky.
Wow. Look at me go. Creature of the night over here.
Confident in your ability to sneak. You do what? How do you walk through town now?
With an active hunch in my shoulders to where I look even more suspicious. It's like I'm like actively looking around over my shoulder and across the street and stuff. Like I look like I'm being followed.
Oh, and you are. So you don't hear any footsteps anymore because they can tell that you're onto them because lurk. If you had been successful, lurk is like a status condition that, like, at least I think, it helps you. Lurking. A lurking creature remains unseen until it attacks or is spotted with an assess action. Okay. So you're not lurking and you're not unseen.
No.
And there are footsteps behind you and from the shadows. So describe where you are right now. Unfortunately, you're in a street that no one else is in. The crowd is thinned. I'll describe it for you. The crowd is thinned. The town is less out and about because it's a bit later in the day. It's just you. And from the shadows, out steps a 5'10" elf with white hair and shadows on his face. But you don't need to see his face to recognize who this is. His voice is familiar as he says, "So the reason you said no to marrying Jessup was because by being in my house, you got what you wanted. You stole my book, didn't you? It's right there. The one from my bedroom. The record book." He is holding an apple-sized orb that contains swirling black storm clouds. Lightning flashes within it.
Now that misunderstanding, this is I found this to give back to you eventually.
You look so innocent right now, Mary. Mary, you've got 6 hit points to start the game. Please roll your number of HP of 6-sided dice to begin this combat scenario.
Oh, no.
During a combat sequence, you can use your singles, doubles, and triples on any action, move, attack, or reaction.
Oh, boy. God, Mary's so stupid.
You look so guilty.
I know. She's like, I swear, I'm a good Protestant woman.
I didn't take this book from you.
No, I actually took it from someone else, which is also bad because that's stealing. But, it's fine. It was stolen first. Okay. Oh, okay. I got 2 doubles and 2 singles.
Excellent. Doubles can be used on your Stunning Strike and Entangle abilities. And singles can be used on any action, move, reaction, and attack.
Okay.
But first we're going to do a little attack from Kaysen.
No.
He holds
Why?
Why? He holds up the orb, which is full of storm clouds and lightning bolts. It's dark and stormy night on the inside of this orb. It looks really cool. And as he holds it up, he's going to do a ranged attack. Now, you're on the street, so you can picture the street just like any town. There's sidewalks. There's like probably a nice tree positioned every now and then. There's like flower pots. And what's really cool in this game is that you can use a reaction to completely negate all incoming damage from a ranged attack. There's distances in this game. They're close, near, and far. So you can dodge behind a close object to not get struck by a near or far attack. And with that, everyone is familiar with the combat mechanics. I will now attack you.
Great.
Okay. He's holding up his orb and he goes, "You have insulted me and my family and you have my book." And he holds it up and a lightning bolt zaps out from it and is coming towards you. I'm going to roll. I get to roll dice myself. The GM and the player are very similarly like rolling stuff and I'm like sorting my dice. So I've got 2 5s. Oh, I've got 1 4, And then I can roll my singles and attack. I did hit. So I'm about to hit you if you do nothing.
There are trees around. I'm sure there's some of like the more dinky trees, but wood is not a conductor of electricity. So I am going to take cover if it is in close terrain.
Yes, you spend 1 single to do the reaction of take cover.
Excellent. Do I need to roll for that? Because I do have an affinity die for take cover, so I would imagine I would need to.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I'm going to roll 2d6 then.
The base difficulty in this game is 4.
I got a 5.
You successfully take cover and the tree explodes with the lightning bolt, sending fragments of bark and core wood, and the whole tree teeters, totters, and topples. It crashes down onto a carriage.
Oh, no.
I hope they had comprehensive insurance.
I don't. All carriages can go suck it.
Now it's your turn.
It is my turn. I am going to use my wand to attack, and I would like to use one of my doubles to use the Stunning Strike, which is an interact ability. So I attack and target is stunned. So
Okay.
I will roll 3d6 for that because I have an affinity die in interact. And as I'm doing so it's like the tree has basically broken and is lying on the carriage, and I ran to take cover exploded. I'm now running across the street to try and get distance, and as I do, I take out the wand and it lights up as I would say Mary instinctually is trying to cast a spell like she would if she still had magic. And it seems like the wand is picking that up somehow. And she says, I swear, if we just talk, this can all be sorted out. And she goes to attack. So let's see if that hits with the Stunning Strike. It'd be really great if he were stunned so that she doesn't get hit by lightning and he can talk without interrupting her. That's the biggest thing. She can talk without being interrupted.
Okay. Difficulty of 6.
God dang it. I got a 5 as my highest one. Ah.
That's too bad. A stunned creature would have forfeited their next action or an action dice.
Darn. Okay.
Oh. So you miss.
And
it was from ranged. So I think the counterattack thing, is that only for close? Let me read these abilities.
Yeah, or close or near. And she is near because the range of the wand is near.
Oh, dang, he's going to counterattack you with his own orb.
Oh.
He's going to roll. He is just rolling a standard attack right there. And a 3 does not hit you, so his counterattack misses. Which is, it's called a thing here. It's called Exploit Strike.
Oh, yes.
No. Counter Strike. Counter Strike. Allows a hero to strike a close or near target if it misses an attack on the hero. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's rough. So close. Yeah, I'm just now starting to realize the resource management part of this because I was like, oh, I got 2 doubles. I can go and use my abilities. And now I've used one and also took cover. And I'm like, dang, I'm down to 3 dice.
Yes.
So I might be a little more judicious with how I spend my dice.
Well, okay. Good luck. Because he's coming at you. He's coming at you, bro. He's got he calls it a crushing orb. It's a heavy melee. Well, not melee range, but crushing orb, and that's his 2 dice thing, and that probably does hit because I think it's got this thing. I'm new to this, but it says 5+ to hit, 3 damage. So I think that's gonna hit you.
Oh wow!
That's a special ability. That's half your HP.
I know. If I had known that this weapon would be in the enemy's hands, I would not have spec'd it this way. Listeners, you should know, I thought the orb would be my weapon. I channeled all of Mary's anger into it, and look what's happening.
Yeah, actually, I'm not using your stats for your weapon. I should.
Oh,
You shouldn't
dang.
I am going to start doing that. It's even better.
No,
Dang,
no,
this
don't
thing
do
hits on a
that.
4+.
Don't do that. I definitely didn't try to optimize it.
Oh, I like this weapon. I'm going to use I've been using a Dungeness Crab stats, sort of. They're
Dang.
altered. Anyway, that's going to hit you for 3 damage unless you do something about it.
Yep.
I got to stop hitting you from range so you can stop taking cover.
No. Actually, okay, so hit points are really important, listeners, because the number of hit points you have dictates how many action dice you can roll. So if I lose 3 hit points and I'm only left with 3, that means I can only roll 3 dice in the next sequence. And if I get to 0 if I lose 0 hit points and can't roll action dice, that means I die. So I am going to, I hate to use a resource, but yeah, I'm going to use one to try and take cover again. Using that good old affinity die. Is the DC still 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, base difficulty is 4 in this game, I think. Could be wrong.
5. Another tree gets blown to smithereens.
I love it. I love like the wood chips flying through the air as this like mage battle is taking place on the street. Everyone's closing their shutters.
I'd like to think we're getting closer to like the ritzy part of town too, and they've like already called the cops.
They're on their way.
We got the town guard coming.
Oh my gosh. How many dice do you have left? Because I have 2.
I have 2 as well.
Wizard battle.
Wizard battle. All power, no stamina. I'm just going to go for a ranged magic attack. So the hit was easy 3+. So
yes, that's how that works.
Yeah.
Yes. So okay.
Hold on. Do I also have a... Okay, so no, if I do hit with this, it also has the precise property which ignores any armor that could be applied.
I cannot apply armor points to reduce the incoming damage.
Oh, I should remember I have armor points to reduce the incoming damage.
And we have these like, what are they called, points that you can change my dice roll?
Oh, the knack points too. Points. And this is all arcane. Okay, see, first time playing. This
is such a good system, listeners.
This is really good. Yeah. Okay, so I got a 3, which is good because it's a 3+ to hit. It is just 1 damage, but you know what? We take those wins.
Describe what it looks like as they go. Ah.
So, Mary just continues to run from tree to tree. Another one bursts into wood chips behind her with like the electricity like frizzing through the air behind her, and it like raises her own hair from the static electricity. And she takes out the wand again and it glows bright, and she actually tries to focus this time, and it actually like the light seems to peter out from the wand. She's like, oh, what's going on? And like there's a bolt that shoots out, but it's only like it's only the 1 damage. But it does, because it's magical, penetrate through whatever like protection he has, and like just kind of hits him in the chest.
He takes the hit. His chest, unlike a bullet, actually going backwards a bit. He looks injured. He's old. He's an elf, and he isn't used to taking physical attacks. And it makes him even angrier. Enraged. He attacks you. I've got a dice. I'm going to roll it. I did roll. Not bad. Okay. I'm going to try to hit you. It says that I hit you. Here's my question. Do you spend your very last dice to take cover, which would leave me with 1 free dice? And you with none?
I do not. I think I will take the hit, but because I am wearing light armor, okay, I need to refamiliarize myself with how armor points work.
You can I think you have 2 armor points. You can spend them to reduce incoming damage.
Okay, yes. I would like to use this time. I have 2 armor points available, yes. So I would like to reduce incoming damage by 2 points.
Excellent. You have completely removed all of the damage coming at you, but the magic still hits.
Gah.
And he shouts, "You thought you could become top marriage candidate for my son Jessup just to get into my house? Turn him down, humiliate my family, and steal my secret records book? Think again. I'll freeze you in time. That always works." And as you completely reduce the damage with your armor, the lightning that strikes you envelops your body in like a thin film. You can't help but lose your vision, and as swirling black storm clouds are all that you can see, the world goes dark. You got hit with the orb.
I did.
You held out way longer than I thought you would.
Dude, I am using these mechanics. It's so nice because it looks like there's a lot on your character sheet, but the mechanics are so simple to pick up that it's like, no, I know exactly what this point here means and what this point here means. Let's try and use it tactically. It's very fun. Liking this system a lot.
Me too. And I should be announcing my rolls because with your knack points, you can bump or lower them by one, which is crazy
true.
cool.
I should have used one of them to turn my 5 into a 6, which would have been a critical hit.
Yes.
That's too bad.
He has 12 hit points. You should really do that. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do, just to let you know, we are not even halfway through this. So it is actually going to...
whoops, sorry.
No. I'm just letting you know there's quite the adventure prepared for you. So just let me know if we're out of time for what you've scheduled for the day. Because, okay. All right. Well, well, then here goes. The swirling black storm clouds part, revealing a sunbeam shining down through leafy branches. Betsy! Calls a familiar voice. 30 feet from you is Anne, your friend from a former life. Not in Sadie's body, but in her original body. You remember, this is the time that Anne was looking for Betsy, her family's cow who had gotten loose. They need cow milk so they can make cheese. Betsy! Anne calls. Let's use the exploration sequence mechanics from Darksome Delve. Please roll your hit point number of dice. Let's see how many singles, doubles, and triples you have to spend.
Oof. All right. Still have 6 hit points. Thank you, light armor.
Yes. Armor for the win.
Imagine if I'd taken that 3. I would have been so hamstrung.
Yes.
Okay. 1 double and 4 singles at my disposal.
Actually, the recover mechanic means that once you're out of battle, you can recover pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So an exploration.
Yes. During an exploration sequence, you can spend your dice on actions and moves. The actions are assess, interact, and recover. The moves are evade, lurk, and transverse. Currently, you are standing in a thicket whose thorny branches are overgrown and leaving scratches on you, and Anne is within hearing distance, but you can't see her.
Okay. I am going to interact. So since I'm stuck in some vegetation, I'm going to try and get out of it, but it's also kind of testing, like, is this real? Was everything a dream? Or am I dead again? Like, what happened?
Yes. And just to let you know, everything is difficulty 5 for this exploration sequence.
Okay. Let's see if I can get out of this mess. And I'll roll an affinity die. Nope.
Is it a 4? Because you can use a knack point.
No, I got 2s on both. So I am stuck in the brambles.
Yeah, you are. You fall even further behind, Anne. You're stuck. Some time passes. The Betsy sound gets even further away. Do you do anything?
I'll call out to Anne. Anne! I need help!
Mary, cleep the cow!
Cleep the cow, Mary! I'm stuck! Help me!
Don't couch in the brambles, Mary. And she comes up. She's clearing the brambles away because you are just tangled. You know now that you're not wearing like in the woods clothes. You're wearing like not like indoor clothes, basically. Like, honestly, I guess it's because your father works in textiles that you have the fanciest, most thorn catching of dresses. And she assures you of this. She says, just because your father works in textiles does not mean thou needest to share them with the brambles.
It was not my purpose, but one must always look presentable, even when catching a cow.
Thou look very brave today, Mary, and let me help you. And now she's going to untangle you from the brambles. Your clothes are minimally ripped, and you've got some slight scratches on you, but no hit point damage. As she's doing this, she moves a kind of a big branch, and it moves a branch ahead of it and on top of that, and there's like a cascading sound. You hear a cracking sound overhead. A branch is falling.
I am, oh gosh. Okay. In my mind, it's a difference of like, do I react physically or do I react magically? I'm trying to figure out what Mary, I think being in this environment again, you know how like sometimes when you're an adult, you go back to your parents' place and you're just kind of like, oh man, I feel like a kid again. and you kind of act that way too. I think that happens to Mary, where it's like she's not in this place where her magic is regular and acceptable. And so she's back to instinctually hiding it instead of expressing it. So she actually tries to, I think this would be an interact again, but to try and like grab Anne out of the way and like, you know, physically move both of them out of the way of harm.
Ooh, which means you can't apply your knack points because those are for magical application.
Right, exactly. This is for the story. Okay, I got a 5.
Oh, good. That passes.
Yes.
You describe what happens.
So Mary immediately jumps and grabs Anne and pulls her out of the way. But there is a little bit of like, it is a little faster than one would expect. You know, it's not superhuman fast, but it's like, oh, after being tangled, like still a little tangled up, Mary's able to move really fast to go and get Anne. And like that kind of registers for her, but not a lot. And she just says, Anne, are you okay?
Oh,
it was close.
Mary, 'tis... I will shrift. 'Tis good you were aft. I was so gassed. Which makes sense for me with my vocab list, but y'all, I do not
have the vocab list. I'm focusing on the accent.
Yeah. Oh man, it's good you were prepared. I'll confess, it's good you were prepared. I was scared.
Thank you. I thought that was the gist of it, but good to have the translation.
That branch, it did lapse me. Shock me. So you are standing in the woods. Your shoes try to stay behind your feet when you raise your legs out of this deep muck. What do you do?
Is that branch like around? Because I'm thinking if it's thick enough, we can use it as kind of like a walking stick and as leverage to help pull our boots up as we walk.
It is 3 feet wide from an old English oak tree.
Ooh, okay.
It would have really done a lot of damage to you. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
I was preparing for Anne to get knocked out and for me not to have any more vocab words. I was like, what if I knock Anne out?
No.
Evil GM plan.
We built these characters together. We will play them together. Yeah. Okay, if it's really hard to keep walking, I think Mary is going to she's going to try.
These are the exploration mechanics. Yes. Check out your move section.
Let me go to the exploration working. Okay. This kind of seems like it would be a traverse move.
Yeah.
Yes. Traverse allows a hero to move athletically. Running, jumping, climbing, or swimming all count as traversing. So let's see if the city girl can do some traversing. I think Anne will be fine. It's really a question of whether Mary will be fine. Okay, I'm going to use my singles here. 1d6. Nope, that was a 3. Can't even use a knack point.
Oh, you start to fall behind. Anne looks over her shoulder at you and just like takes your hand and pulls you through the mud. Oh. You do lose a shoe.
Oh.
You're not sure at what point. It's all mud, really. I mean, you couldn't feel it for a while with all the mud that was in there.
Oh, man. And it is hard to get shoes in this day and age. Like, it takes time, man. Oh. Life sure is inconvenient without magic, isn't it? At some point, the thought crosses Mary's mind of like, why did I want to come back here? But yeah.
Anne tries to be nice to you, and she's like, do not fret, Mary. You are never a fardel to me. Anon, we shall find Betsy, and belike return her to the cottage. Where even is that cow anyway? Do one last check to see if you can find the path.
SS roll 5.
Hey, you pass.
Yay.
There's that cow hoof print. Quickly, you come upon the very happy Betsy, who's just munching. She's munching.
Good Betsy.
And you remember this day. You remember this trek through the woods. You still have never found your shoe. But the sky, the sky around you grows dark and stormy. Lightning flashes from one cloud to another. It strikes the ground in the distance. But the cow doesn't seem to see it, and neither does Anne. Everything goes black for you, Mary.
Oh, okay. She's starting to get a little worried now.
I wonder what your body's doing right now.
Yeah, I know. Probably spasming and getting hit by lightning bolts.
The swirling black storm clouds that obscure your vision part, revealing a church pew and a person's back close to your face as you kneel and pray. You remember this. The interior of this church is very familiar. You came here often with your father, Henry Stewart. Your father is by your side, and he looks down and smiles at you as the prayer concludes. Amen, he says, crossing his right hand from forehead to chest and then left shoulder, right shoulder. He settles into his seat and resumes looking at the front of the church. Let's use the role-play sequence mechanics from Darksome Delve. Please roll your hit point number of dice. Let's see how many singles, doubles, and triples you have to spend, and I have a sermon to read for you while you're rolling and calculating.
Okay.
And remember, during a role-play sequence, you can only spend your dice on actions. This means you can only assess, interact, or recover. And as you're planning that out, I'll read. You hear this speech from the pulpit. Magic, the pretended art of influencing the course of events and of producing marvelous physical phenomena by processes supposed to owe their efficacy to compelling the intervention of spiritual beings, or of bringing into operation some occult controlling principle of nature. Sorcery, witchcraft. God hates all to do with sorcery, witchcraft, or magic. They are devilish and pagan, representing two of his enemies, the devil himself and those who follow him. God's law prohibits any involvement in witchcraft activities. He condemned witches and their craft in Exodus 22:18, Deuteronomy 18:10, and 2 Chronicles 33:6. He hath condemned wizards or male witches in Leviticus 19:31, 26:27, and Deuteronomy 18:11. Rather than see how close thou canst get to witchcraft, thou should get as far away as thou can. Witchcraft, even in small doses, is stronger than thou art, and a surer way to corrupt thine life I cannot imagine. Children of God must abhor all to do with the devil. Church is over and people are mingling. Your father touches a man on the arm to pause his progress and says, Richard, congratulations on the large dye sale. I heard about it in town. The man looks pleased as punch and says, Yes, it was quite fortunate. I am truly blessed to be so fortunate in my travels and that the dyes were still popular when I returned. And I see you have Mary with you. Hello, Mary. Meanwhile, you're like shell-shocked from the sermon and the time travel.
Yeah. Quick assess here.
Yeah.
So I've got 4 singles and a double. So assess is specifically uncover info about a creature, object, or environment.
Yes, on page 10, you have special roleplay assess. You can uncover motives, falsehoods, size up opponents, or deduce background clues as well.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Wait, you said page 10?
Yeah. Of the bottom of the page numbering. Yeah. Yeah, this is such a good TTRPG because there's assess special roleplay benefits and interact special roleplay benefits and recover during roleplay. You can regain your composure during a speech. It's so cute. And you can regain knack points. It's very neat. Anyway, so yeah, mechanics. Oh.
Yeah.
You can bribe a guard.
Yeah.
Interact. It's so cool.
I am going to, definitely assess and I think deduce a background clue specifically for the roleplay option. I would I definitely remember this. One might even say this sort of stuff is key to Mary's character. And I think Mary would specifically be looking for, why am I listening to this again? I don't know. I think she's just after such a good memory and after also not having actually thought about this in a while, because in the episode she's played, she was very much like on the nose about that. And as she spent more time in Nicomoy, she's kind of like gotten off that train. And I guess she doesn't realize it until she's back in this memory and she's like, oh, right. But why am I remembering this now? So I don't know if that's something we want to work with, GM.
I'm here for you. I also have your fiance here for you.
I don't want to think about that.
That's who that Richard person is.
Yeah, I mean, like, Richard's a fine person. Before Nicomoy, she was very happy to be engaged to someone with a dye business that she could potentially help with. I mean, depends on how he views women in the workplace.
Ooh, you know, do you want to find out? You can uncover.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. Yeah. Could I do 2 of those? Because I would still like to try and deduce like the why is this showing up?
Yeah.
What is this? Why am I here? And then also just be like, wait, let me assess Richard again, especially compared to like all of the people I've met so far in Nicomoy.
Yes. Okay, so let's start with the sermon. I didn't think you'd react to that. I just kind of kept going. Yes. Okay, start with the sermon.
Okay. 5.
A 5. That passes for sure. And specifically you're doing assess to...
I guess it's like I had a good memory before this of being with Anne. And now this feels like a bad memory, you know? And so I think Mary is just trying to be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why am I reliving parts of my life right now?
For a moment, you float outside of your body and you see that this church does not exist beyond the boundaries of the room. Instead, it's roiling black thunderclouds. You are in the control of a magic object right now, and it is trying to distract you so that you don't fight it.
Ooh.
You gain some insight into the inner workings of the trap that your mind is in. That's why it's showing you this church sermon, because it upset you.
It definitely did. I think that it upset her in and of itself is also a bit of a revelation to her, because that's just kind of a deeply ingrained belief that she's always had. And now after some time away from it, she's like, wait a second, this pisses me off.
Yeah, I'm not of the devil. What the heck?
No. Yeah. I use my magic to save people and win arm wrestling matches.
And steal books. Come on, I'm just a normal folk. But yeah, Marcia would not be alive if it were not for your magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this sermon kind of strikes false.
Yeah. And I also want to check out Richard. I'm going to roll to assess that too.
Okay, I'm going to redo the prompt because I should have taken a pause between those two. Okay, church is over and people are mingling. Your father touches a man on the arm to pause his progress and says, "Richard, congratulations on the large dye sale. I heard about it in town." The man looks pleased as punch and says, "Yes, it was quite fortunate. I am truly blessed to be so fortunate in my travels, and that the dyes were still popular when I returned. And I see you have Mary with you. Hello, Mary."
I think actually I'll go and interact first. Good morrow, Richard. Wonderful day for a sermon.
He blushes.
Aw,
just because you're looking at him. He's like, oh.
Aw, cutie. Okay, that's fine. How?
And then you didn't interact, right? And so you got his reaction. So let's do another prompt. Your father smiles widely and brags about you. "Mary has been studying textiles with me. I never could have dreamed of having such a clever daughter. She understands the business quickly and is a delight to teach."
Aw, now I'm blushing. Yeah, following up on that. Richard, hast thou ever considered the fact that some dyes hold firmer in other textiles than others? Dost that affect thine business to whom thou sellst to?
Let's have you roll a role play assess to uncover his true feelings about your opinion on his business.
Yes.
I just recently read a Jane Austen book where every time she talks, he's like, I know better, and just like doesn't do it. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll do this because I got a 1. I know there aren't any like critical failures in this system, but still feels bad, man.
We're going to give you some more chances because you got some more dice. And he goes, what sorts of fabric could that be? And what dyes? He wants to, progressing along. I'll give you another chance to do another check. Mm-hmm. And this will affect what you say.
Yeah. I am going to put generic information out there because I don't actually know.
Does your character know?
Character does know for sure.
Okay, your character is actually a fabrics expert.
Yes, because I do know in this time in history, there were codes on clothing, specifically what kind of clothing you could wear based on class and the kinds of colors you can wear. So, for example, Mary is always wearing a pale blue kirtle because dark blue was more reserved for nobility, and you could get actually fined for wearing that color and you weren't nobility, or if you didn't have the money to pay for it. So like,
oh gosh.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just the fabrics. Like that's part of the reason why Mary was initially like, okay, I don't mind being in business with this guy and like being married to him, because the color of clothing is just as important as the material that you're using it on. So
yeah, you share that with him. Go ahead and roll that assess roll and let's see how he feels about Mary having an opinion on colors and fabrics.
Come on. Okay, I got a 4. I'm going to use a knack point, bring it up to a 5.
Roleplay how you magically or technologically do that.
Yeah, I think I can see, like Mary starts to see that she can't get a good handle on what he's thinking, and this matters a lot to her. So again, she instinctually, a little more naturally than when she was with Anne and saving her from the branch, she instinctually tries to make herself more engaging, to make the conversation engaging, and to draw his attention in so that she can get a more honest reaction. And it's just kind of, in common terms, it would just be like vibes,
Yes. Okay, so here's the vibes you're getting back from Richard. He finds you intriguing. He thinks as a man, he's worn certain types of fabrics and dyes. And as you say these things about a light blue, did you call it a hurdle? A
kirtle.
Kirtle. Mm-hmm. A light blue kirtle. He has never thought of that before, and he finds you interesting.
Ooh.
And he's very like, how when you're near a pretty person, you just don't know where to look?
Yeah.
He's doing that.
Oh.
Yeah. He thinks you're pretty and he thinks you're very interesting.
Oh. Mary just kind of blushes a little bit.
And your father looks so pleased.
The ship is setting sail.
Your father's building the ship.
Yeah, exactly. I think Mary would finish it off by saying, clearly mine interest is keen as yours is as well, I'd hope. Mayhaps, Father, we might invite the Master Richard home for dinner sometime and talk more business there.
And as you guys arrange, you remember that dinner, and that went well too. You guys like accidentally touched toes under the table at one point and like just flushed. And you remember this. And then the sky around you grows dark and stormy. Lightning flashes from one cloud to another. It strikes the ground in the church. Everything goes black.
Okay. Mary's ready for this next one. I think she's going to try and like break out of it is going to be her plan, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, here goes. The swirling black storm clouds part, revealing the bustling city street. You stop reflexively mid-step, and the person who is walking at your side turns around to look at why you stopped. It's Anne again. You recognize her familiar face. But she has stopped and turned around to look at you not just anywhere, but in the middle of the street. A carriage is hurtling towards her. With a sickening crunch, it rolls over her and keeps going.
No. Why would you do this? No. No, it doesn't keep going. It does not. Oh.
Anne lies dead on the cobbles, not 10 feet from you, in the middle of the street. The
No.
storm clouds overhead roil, and as you look up at a flash of lightning from high in the sky, dark bat wings form. Literal devils are swooping down at you from up there. Let's use the combat mechanics from Darksome Delve. Please roll your number of hit points.
I don't know if I would have agreed to this game if I knew we'd be going this deep.
Oh gosh, do you want to X card this or
No, I'm totally down for this. Okay, I just wasn't expecting it. I think it's perfect.
A literal battle with devils over Anne's soul?
Exactly. Because Mary remembers saving her. This didn't happen like this in her memory, and yet everything else she's seen
could it have happened like this?
I know.
Would you really tell people? Remember, you blocked it out, and you don't remember why you blocked it out.
Yep.
Maybe it's because you fought devils in the street for Anne's soul.
Yeah, probably. In the streets of Elizabeth and London.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. During a combat sequence, you're free to use your singles, doubles, and triples on any action, move, attack, or reaction. And you see a ghostly Anne rise from the crushed mess of Anne on the street.
Oh. This is the best kind of RPG playing. Where the GM evilly cackles and the player doesn't want to be here, but also really wants to be here.
Okay. You let me know where that line is.
Oh, yeah. No, I love this sort of drama and stuff. Yes. Okay. So, sorry. I rolled all singles.
Oh, good. You can use those for more attacks. Yeah.
Yes. So, I actually do think that was the best way to go about it. So, do I still have the wand with me?
You do.
Okay. I'm going to bring out the wand. All instinct takes over. And so I'm just going to attack the one nearest me.
Yes, it is a literal devil with black skin, smells like sulfur, has bat wings, and it is swooping down as it comes. It's at first at far distance and then at near distance. And you?
I am definitely at near distance.
Yeah. Describe your attack. And I think you get to decide if it hits or not because it says hit easy 3+ on your wand.
Yeah. I just immediately whip out the wand and it is shedding bright light. You know, it's like there are shadows playing against the wings of these devils because the light from the wand is so bright. And I'm holding my hand out to the spirit of Anne and saying, Anne, let me save you. And just instinctual fling of the wand over to the first devil that she sees that's getting close to Anne's spirit.
As a spell strike, you can roll a extra dice because you have an affinity dice in your actions or in your attacks spell strikes.
Yes. And I got a 6.
Excellent. How much damage do you do? These have 2 hit points, these devils.
That is a 3 for damage on a critical. Yeah, immediately that there's a bolt of white light that comes out from this wand and it pulses as it leaves that. It's almost like the wishbone part almost acts like a slingshot or an amplifier. And this small little orb of light grows exponentially until it hits the devil head on and literally rips it apart into bits of shadow.
Yes. Oh, I'm picturing it. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And Mary just isn't even thinking anymore. She's acting on pure love for Anne, trying to save her from the grips of Satan, basically.
Oh my gosh. Literally. As the ghostly Anne, it looks a bit confused, but sees her body and is like, Oh. She sees you and no one else can see her, right? And she's heading towards you and a devil is swooping down from the sky. It makes an attack move. Now it's gonna scamper. It's statted like a giant rat, so it can scamper. Yeah. And it can swarm, which will muster up another devil. So I think it's going to, but it just saw its friend get exploded. So I think it's going to scamper instead.
Better think twice.
It's going to, while it dives, it's going to swoop through the shadow of a building and disappear into that shadow, and you don't see it.
Oof. Okay.
It's your turn. It's lurking successfully because it had a 2 difficulty, I think, on that. So yeah, it's very good at evading and then lurking.
Yes. I could use an action to try and assess where it is, but I don't think I can attack after that.
But you can avoid getting sneak attacked.
Ooh, yes, that's true. I'm going to try and assess where it is to make sure it doesn't attack either, to try and make sure it doesn't have the jump on me or Anne. So
it was going to jump for Anne's soul. How did you know?
See? That's because I also GM games and I know what's most effective. Okay, so, oh darn. Okay, no affinity die in assess, so I'm just going to take the 1. It's a 2, so that's not going to, even with a knack point, that wouldn't really be enough. So I try and look for it, but it's, I would say the light from the wand is too bright for me to be able to see it lurking in the shadows.
Yes, if anything, light just creates more shadows. You're distracted by the number of them.
Exactly.
On its turn, the devil, no longer in the shadow behind the building, it seems to have like shadow walk or something. It leaps out from the shadow underneath Anne, and it grabs her feet and it starts pulling her down into the shadow. What do you do, Mary?
Oh my gosh. I was really hoping I had doubles because I could do this as like magical ritual, but I don't have doubles, so I can't use that ability. So instead, I'm going to do another attack, but the instinct doesn't come from destruction. It comes from like, I need to get Anne to a safe place. Like she's already being dragged somewhere not safe. I need to get her to a safe place. So I am still using the wand. Come on. And then I have the affinity die for the spell strike. Okay. I got a 4.
Hey, that's a success.
Yes.
What do you do, Mary?
Mary points the wand again over at Anne this time. She's not like pointing at the demon. She's pointing at Anne. And she says, I'm going to keep you safe. Trust me. And there is a blue light that comes out from the wand this time. It's no longer white like it has been. And there is a disc that forms between the 2 wishbone arms that gets flung over to Anne and completely, it's almost like it just like swallows her up to where it's like this roiling blue magic portal, like a magic circle. And it whisks Anne out of there. But I think also canonically, it takes Mary too.
Yeah. Oh man, the spirit of Anne finds its way through the wibbly wobbly, timey wimey into the body of Sadie. And Mary goes plunk on a field next to Erebus.
Yep. Just completely crushing his turnips.
Oh, it's fun. And Mary, you feel, you've broken that wall, not the 4th wall. Hi, listeners. You've broken that wall and you can feel, because of your portal, you can feel the boiling storm clouds overhead as clearly as if each one was brushing up against your skin. You can feel each cloud, where it is, where it's headed. You can feel the lightning building in one cloud, the lightning before it sparks. You hear a thunder you knew would come. You now have control of the orb. You raise your hand, and an orb solidifies in it, a physical manifestation of the power you have conquered. You feel like you could revisit any one point on your timeline for about 5 minutes. Where do you go?
Oh, man. I have to go back to when Obsidiana was taking her magic. Like, she has to. She has to. Does she have to? Now I'm wondering. Oh, this is a tough question. I actually think she's going to go to a point in her childhood when her mother had just died, and her father Henry are sitting at church after the service, and Mary didn't really say much in this memory, but she remembers just seeing her father cry, and she's like patting his shoulder and everything. And he puts his arm around Mary and he says, I will keep you safe. I will always keep you safe for the sake of your past mother. And Mary didn't really understand at the time what he was saying, but now, having instinctually gone back to revisit that memory, despite the fact that her anger wanted her to go and revisit the Obsidiana incident, she realizes now that her father always knew. And maybe it had something to do with her mom too, but that's in the past.
Whoa. And he loves you. And
he loves me for that, despite what the church says. And, you know, she realizes now, thinking back to her life, that's always been like that. Like, her father has always bucked the traditional gender norms. He let her help run the business. He had her come to meetings with him. He taught her how to read, how to do arithmetic, right? That was not something that was granted to most people back then, especially of her class. And like, it's not like her father could do much for her magic, but he could try and make her life a good one if she had to repress a huge part of herself for the sake of being safe. And she also flashes back in that time, not physically, because she just spends that time with her dad in those 5 minutes in the orb. But she also thinks back to what Erebus told her in Trauma Poetry, the last episode after her magic got taken, where he also was like, I will always be there for you and always support you no matter your decisions. And I think she realizes for the first time that she really is her own person and has her own abilities. And she will have people who love her no matter what, whether she has magic or not.
Oh, Mary. I'm not crying.
I'm almost crying.
It's good to wet the eyes every now and then.
Yeah.
Oh, I like your dad so much.
He's pretty cool.
Oh. Meep. You now have control of the orb. The swirling black storm clouds part, and you open your real eyes, revealing a 5'10", 140-pound elf with white hair. You're back outside in Nicomoy on the streets in the luxury part of town where the cops are being called. Kaysen is walking towards you, his posture nonchalant, like the adrenaline gone, a smug look on his face. But then he notices your eyes move and match his. He holds your gaze for a second, and his expression changes. Fear. He doesn't understand why you're still moving.
Ooh. I don't take a step. I don't move except to raise my arm with the book that's holding the book. And right in front of him, it just bursts into flames, like blue flames.
Oh my gosh. No, he says. How will I remember all of the people I have wronged?
Best seek forgiveness now. And Mary physically moves herself with such strength that can only be fueled by magic and breaks whatever paralysis is holding her. And it's almost like she shakes off the dust almost.
He tries to raise the orb at you, then sees that it's not in his hand. When did it get into your hand? He looks terrified.
Yeah, it's like the book burned, and then like from the ashes, you just see the orb peeking out, and there are no clouds. It is crystal clear. Whoa. And Mary says, I do not have time for this right now. But know at least that your secrets have died with that book, and you will rue whatever comes to you. And she just heads off. She has so much more purpose now.
Oh, hot dang.
Yeah.
He does not follow.
Yes.
He looks like he's gonna just hope you don't beat him up.
Yeah. Mary still has some reassessing to do because not all of her magic is back. It's like one of those things where she has to dig really deeply, whereas before she could pull it out, you know, on a whim. And she still wants to bring Obsidiana to justice. But knowing now that she's her own person and there is some part of her that will always have some magic, but it's her decision on how she wants to use it and how to live her life. I think she's looking at a whole new world and she's ready to take it on. Yeah,
that was a great adventure. Joining us this time, we're Mary.
Reborn.
Goodbye.